Father, we thank you that you are our rock, that in times of trouble that you are our anchor, and when the winds blow and the waves come, we can trust you, we can depend on you, we can rely on you. We thank you on this day. We remember, Lord, that you are the one that loves us, that you are the one who sent your Son Jesus to give us new life. And we thank you that it's through Christ and His love for us that we can have this hope of eternal life. Father, we thank you and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen? Amen. Amen. Please take a seat. And as you do, I'm going to invite Christy to come and read from Psalm 139. Thank you, Christy.
psalm was one of my dad's favourites. I can remember him reading it probably once a week, just because he liked that. This is Psalm 139, 1-18. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all of my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light becomes night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book, before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you.
Friends, I'd like to invite Brent, come on, thank you. I'd like to invite Brent Williams. He's a close friend of Craig, and he's got his Bulldogs. Brent has known Craig for over 30 years, and he's the chairman of the board of MPOS since the beginnings in 2000. Through the years, Craig saw Brent as a mentor figure in his life, and has cherished his counsel.
The hundreds of other young Aussies that were heading off to Los Angeles to be part of an outreach during the Olympic Games in that city in that year. And like many of his age, it ruined him for an ordinary life from that point on. The truth is, I think he was already ruined before that time, and had the bug from the time that he had received Christ the year before, and deciding that he was going to actually be a missionary rather than a mission field. The years passed and our paths crossed often when he and Jackie met and then married, and then our ministry overlapped with St Paul's Wahroonga. And today I know that in our midst we have many past and present members of the Board of Theos, Pastor John Van Benecom, his wife, down from Brisbane for the day. And thank you, John, for all of your input on behalf of Theos and the family. Deeply appreciate your wise counsel contributing to that ministry over the years, and others that are with us today. Craig had served in seasons with Bible Society and then Asian Outreach in Hong Kong, putting his marketing and communication skills to good use and adding his own unique enthusiasm to the mix. Craig and Jackie then joined us in YWAM Sydney for some further training before heading to the Middle East via the UK. And whilst part of the Sydney team, they formed many rich and lasting relationships that are represented by several now gathering today. Tom Hallis, the former YWAM Asia Pacific Director, whom I spoke to just a couple of nights ago, continued to take an interest in Craig and asked me to convey his love, affection and admiration to the family and the esteem that he had for Craig. A final direct partnership with YWAM came with the Sydney Olympics looming. Craig offered to help coordinate the outreach of many visiting teams in the Bankstown area and work alongside our team. He did that with great enjoyment and insight to the area that he was in. It was during that time that Craig and Jackie made the decision that shaped their lifestyle over the last 17 years to launch an Australian-based mission organisation called Theos. and Craig asked me to be on the board. Being a fellow Bulldog supporter, probably favoured me. We've walked with Craig and Jackie these years, and with other board members have tried to be a supportive sounding board and source of encouragement, admiring their dedication. Probably at times I felt I was living in an episode of Spooks where I was the diplomat and Craig was the special operative, pushing the envelope. Craig was as courageous in sickness as he was in service. Over all these years, I've often marvelled at his optimism. Vision was like oxygen for Craig. He would always be dreaming of the 5-year plans and the upcoming possibilities. To be honest, our board meetings at times got tense and strained when current realities demanded some airtime that was stealing where the real action was to be found, the future. His single-minded commitment to the unreached, the unchallenged, and the unacceptable moved him and made just about any audience more than a little uncomfortable, even when you agreed with him. He was fiercely loyal to the many donors, supporters, and friends of Matthias. And on behalf of Matthias, thank you. You have been outstanding supporters of the Gibbon family and to the Matthias ministry. On the morning that Craig passed into the presence of Jesus and my thoughts drifting to his condition, without the knowledge that his death was imminent, I was reading the prophet Daniel. On a Tuesday night just prior to that, when we visited, and as Craig came in and out of consciousness, I was recalling the passage that he often recounted to me in Daniel, where the 3 men were cast into the furnace, and they said to the king, the pagan king, "Our God is able to deliver us. But if he doesn't, he's still God, and we will serve him." And as my mind drifted and I was reading in the prophet Daniel, I noticed that 3 times in 2 chapters in the New Living Translation records the messenger saying to Daniel, "Daniel, you are very precious to God." Later, as I reflected, I felt the poignancy of these words that could apply to Craig. In fact, in Psalm 116 and verse 15, it says, "Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his faithful servants." Craig's investment in others runs into the thousands. He has fought his fight, finished his race. You like to come in first, I think. And most importantly, he has kept the faith. Craig, we thank God for you. And we thank you for leaving a legacy in your family and in the nations. God bless you.
Thank you, Brent. It's wonderful words. Well, friends, Craig and Jackie have lived in India for many years, and they have friends in India. And on behalf of many people in Delhi, some key friends from New Life Church have sent their thoughts on video, including the pastor of the church, Victor and Esther Nazareth, which some of you may know from going to India or their trips to Australia. Please turn your eyes to the screen.
Craig was a real friend. We're going to miss him a lot. He journeyed with us in India for over 10 years and inspired us in many ways, especially his love for people and in preaching the gospel. So Jackie and Josh, Christy and Sarah, our love goes to you. Our hearts are with you, our prayers are with you, and we believe that with God's help you'll be able to move on. God bless you.
We would have loved to be with you, Gibbon family, at this time to celebrate and remember together the life of Craig. We aren't there in flesh, but in the spirit we are. Craig's passion for evangelism was infectious. His humor and his association of words to remember Hindi words is something I personally will never forget. the short emails to clarify things he did not understand, and the desire to walk in the light at all times are things that set him apart. You will be missed, Craig, but for you to live was Christ, to die is gain.
Hi Jackie, Josh, Christy and Sarah. This is Roli and I want to convey my love to Gibbon tribe. I know it is a difficult time for you and for us as well. But we also know that our brother Craig is with the Lord, rejoicing and ordering our Chakana. But till the time we are here on this earth, we will be continuing to pray for you all and standing together as a family. Lots of love, kisses and hugs for you all. Love you.
I remember the time when we were together and we had some nice fond memories that I will always cherish. Having some nice barbecue food at your place and cell meetings and worshiping the Lord together, going for Go and Stew and sharing the gospel in the malls. So these are the memories that will always remind me of Craig. Let the Holy Spirit support you, guide you during this time and console you. Love you all. Bye.
Reminded of the great time that we've had with the Gibbons family in India. Especially Craig, we miss you. It's fantastic memories we had about the India and Australian matches. And your amazing sense of humor. Especially just reminded me of
Though our hearts are saddened by the loss of our dear brother Craig, still we rejoice in the Lord, knowing that Craig is basking in the presence of God right now. It's a victory indeed to be there finally. We are honored and blessed to have known your entire family. Craig was a true blessing for all of us. We Mitras are praying for you and sending you loads of love.
Before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's here. My dad would be thrilled to be in this room today. And if he was, he'd be going around shaking every single person's hand, saying thank you. And so on behalf of him, on behalf of my mum and my sisters and our extended family, thank you for how far you've come today. And thank you, Pastor Baptist, for this incredible venue. And thank you, Pastor Nathan, for your incredible servant heart from way before my dad's passing, but consistently through it all. About 6 weeks ago, my dad and I were sitting in his favourite cafe in Coogee, at his favourite beach, and we were having a brunch together. It was unspoken, but we both knew this could be the last meal that we had as father and son, as the cancer had resurged, and in the past couple of weeks he was progressing quickly. We spent the morning celebrating his life, and Dad ordered 2 glasses of champagne because he never took celebration lightly, and why stop now? Over the course of breakfast, I became caught up in the retelling of his stories, his struggles, his joys, his disappointments and successes, and everything that came along his adventurous life. Many I'd heard 1,000 times before, but I heard them in a new light. I felt it was like what it was like for him to go through them, not as my dad, but as another man, just like me. At one point I asked him, what quality do you think has defined you as a person? What's the legacy that you leave behind? Most people would balk at that question, but not my dad. No, taking not more than one breath, he recalled this quote that my mum had found at a coffee shop wall over 10 years earlier. It was by George Bernard Shaw, a playwright from the early 1900s, who had said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself."
Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. To be honest, I've never been able to fit my dad into a box, and I doubt many of you could either. Boxes didn't fit my dad. But this quote helped me understand the strength of his character. My father was an unreasonable man. And by that I mean he had unreasonable ambition, and he was a restless soul who pushed the boundaries. He was unreasonable as a challenger of people's comfort zones, always pushing that a little bit further, giving little heed to status quos or taboo topics. He was unreasonable because he was a man who, once he set his mind to something, put all his chips on the table. I want to share with you some flashbacks of stories from Dad's life, some not my own, but ones I believe that capture the strength of this unreasonable, restless heart, which pursued God's purpose for himself and others without any apology, and brought about a significant deal of impact in other people's lives. When Dad was young, he was known for being full of life. He loved to make people laugh. He was a gatherer of people, a party boy, always ready to boogie, and a committed friend, all of which were traits he held to the day he passed. Dad was also known for a solid work ethic, something he inherited from his father, Brian, who only called in sick one day in his career. He also had this innate ability to strike up a conversation with anyone from a young age, which he attributed to his mother, Anne, who you can always find chatting to anyone, absolutely anywhere, any chance she gets. And Dad always said that his mother was responsible for his eventual livelihood because she taught him how to speak with confidence. But Dad had this tendency to push the boundaries. His sisters Linda and Chanel tell me the story that sums this up. Dad had just got a provisional license and a tiny little VW. And with that, this sudden realization of independence. This independence, however, was cut short by breaking yet again another bone, and in fact, his right shin for the second time, leaving him in a full, straight leg cast from hip to toe. Dad could never give me a total tally of the bones he broke during childhood, if that gives you an idea of how common this was. So driving was obviously impossible for anyone except Craig Gibbon. Craig decided to push the boundaries of human motoring ability and gave it a shot anyway. Hobbling over to his tiny VW, he pushed the driver's seat all the way back till it was practically the back seat, squeezed his right leg cast in towards the left, and then wrapped his left leg over the cast to reach the pedals. Having never driven left-footed before, I can't imagine how safe this was. Of course, Dad made it to work and was going quite well, until he got pulled over by the police. To his relief, they were only concerned about his rear tail light not working. But then they asked him to step on the brakes. While trying to awkwardly push the brake pedal with his left foot, they quickly realised his predicament. Thankfully, they found him quite amusing, gave him a warning and told him up to lay off driving until he had two legs again. Legend has it that this encounter with the police did not deter Dad from many more left-legged driving sagas. Dad's told me countless other stories of breaking bones, breaking household ornaments, breaking front doors, breaking back doors. The list goes on, but suffice to say that Dad didn't mind a challenge, and when he put his mind to something, he was all in. As a teenager and a young adult, Dad participated religiously in Boy Scouts and eventually gained the honour of becoming a Queen Scout. He even completed the Cedar Circus and Mates 3 times. You can also tell from that haircut that he was pretty all out when it came to fashion too. All who knew Dad in this era remember him as an all-or-nothing kind of guy. Whether he was supporting the Canterbury Bulldogs, getting out on the dance floor at an INXS concert, pulling out his infamous dance moves, and they will haunt me forever, or being a loyal and committed friend, Dad was all in. And when Dad was all in, just about no one could get in his way. There was a key dark time in Dad's life when he chose all in. He was about 21 and he was completing a marketing and commerce degree at UNSW while doing a part-time cadetship in a steel company. When Dad told me about this era over breakfast, he described it as a tumultuous season, characterised by a lot of soul-searching. You see, my dad had this dream of owning a red Porsche sports car and a view of Sydney Harbour. But the more it seemed his life was on track to reach that dream, the less it appealed to him. He used to sing this song, rather than just quote it. He said, "I still haven't found what I'm looking for," by U2. And he told me he'd tried everything under the sun to fill that void of meaning and purpose, but it turned up short. In the midst of this questioning, my dad found himself at a house party one weekend, as he was prone to do. Struck up a conversation with a guy who didn't seem like all the others. For one, he wasn't getting wasted like everyone else. Dad soon found out he was a Christian, and so fired any question he could at him to discount religion. was only when Dad realised that Rolf, who's sitting here today, was also studying to become a lawyer, that the gravity of this conversation sunk in. When Dad asked a question, Rolf would give him multiple choice arguments and left Dad with nothing to stand on. Dad was forever unsettled by that conversation, and a process of upheaval in his life began. Later that year, he attended a youth convention in Katoomba and was overwhelmed by the purpose and meaning he found in the life following Jesus. And so he committed himself. And of course, he didn't commit himself only a little bit, he went all in. He began to uproot any practice, any relationship, any vision in his life that didn't fit this newfound purpose or discourage his pursuit of faith. He joined a church, he broke up with a girlfriend, he quit his cadetship at the steel company, he went to 6 a.m. Bible studies on the other side of Sydney, and he took a job at Bible Society. Dad was all in. And this is what began his journey in pursuit of a Jesus purpose-led life. And he eventually realised that his ultimate purpose was to share what he found with anyone and everyone anywhere in the world. Fast forward 10 years. By this point, Dad had finished Bible college, or bridal college as he notoriously joked, and had met Mum and his partner for life, who had ventured on a pretty radical faith journey herself. They got married, and together they ventured into the unknown world of overseas mission. I must stop here to acknowledge my mum, because I know Dad would want me to. Dad always spoke of Mum as the reason he was able to live the life he did. Without her, most of his efforts over the last 27 years would have been near impossible. My dad always called Mum a soldier, and she's the most decorated soldier I know, for her level of selfless service is unparalleled. If you've journeyed with my dad since this point, you know he's always been a man of unreasonable ambition. When most people thought missions, they thought of a small village or town, or at the most a city. When Craig thought missions, he thought of the 1040 window, which, if you haven't heard of, is a region of Earth that encompassed North Africa, the Middle East, India, China, and all of Southeast Asia, which included at least 3 billion of the poorest and least evangelized people on Earth. You won't believe the legacy that touched 4 corners of this region. This adventure ended up spanning 20 years and having visited 40 countries across 5 continents and living in 6, including Australia. What I will always remember about Dad is that while he had unreasonable ambition, he was always able to provide for our family and give us security, safety, comfort, even at times when he was probably pretty terrified himself. The first destination of their adventure was Hong Kong. My mum tells a story of when she and Dad first moved to this foreign land together, with some financial backing from supporters, probably many of you, an organisation with a lot of faith and not much else. She tells me that when they found an apartment in Hong Kong, they had little to no resources to furnish the place. For many people, this predicament would have been reason for a panic attack or to give up and go home. My dad, however, was a solutions man. Through some people at their mission agency, Dad heard of a real estate agent who had stored up furniture from previous tenants. As there is a lot of Chinese superstition around using previously owned household goods, Dad realised he would have almost free reign. So he trekked through the unfamiliar city, and when he returned, he not only laid hold to a truckload of furniture to fill the apartment, but pictures for the walls, appliances, kitchen utensils and cookware, all for free. I could tell you countless stories of my dad's faith and God's provision, even up until the last minute, and his proactive nature that hunted down these opportunities. Our family never lacked any physical need. We were always comfortable, satisfied, and lived in abundance wherever the adventure took him. I attribute that to God's provision and to my dad's unreasonable ambition. My father had a powerful voice. I mean that both physically and figuratively. When Dad was on the phone, you could usually hear his conversation from the next door neighbour's house. Facts that worried me from time to time, particularly living in countries where you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing. But its power was also in its intentionality, always seeking to bring about challenge in people's lives and to stir them up, as he would say. Many of my best memories with Dad revolve around soccer. During our first year in India, I was about 11, and my dad really wanted me to get into the Delhi International Football League. When he called up, they said the only way I could play is if he would be willing to coach my team. And he did. He didn't even think about it for a second. I remember turning up to our first training session and meeting the boys and girls on my team for the first time. Many kids my age would probably have a sense of embarrassment that their dad was the coach, but that wasn't really the emotion I was experiencing. Now, as I look down the starting line of this group of innocent, wide-eyed, excitable kids, I can only feel a sense of pity, compassion, and remorse for their blissful, ignorant state before the 12 weeks that lay ahead of them. But it didn't take them long to realise that my dad was no ordinary coach. Nope, my dad was a preacher coach. Every Saturday you could hear my dad's voice boom across the field to repeat to these tiny humans until his voice went hoarse. He had a few phrases that he put on repeat. Hassle them! Get in their faces! Take it up to him! Go, Josh! And hassle him! Louder than that. But it wasn't just the sideline talk he was known for. It was his halftime rev-up spiels. He'd always have an inspirational football sermon ready for this little group of kids to get their legs kicking again and get them back out on the field to give their all. And it used to work too, whether out of sheer terror or out of a new sense of self-belief, but I saw my teammates step into a new confidence on the field every time we came together. 2 lines from these spiels are stamped into my memory. He said, "Don't just hope it will happen, make it happen. And don't die wondering what could have happened if." You'd think this kind of football sermon may have upset a few parents, and granted it probably did. But at the end of every season, without fail, usually at the victory party, because we won 3 years in a row, wealthy expat parents would come up to my dad with a look of dismay on their faces and say, "I have no idea how I'll get through my week anymore without your inspirational pep talks on a Saturday." If you ever got to hear Dad speak publicly, then you would know he had the same approach to preaching. Craig got in our faces. He'd hassle us. And he loved hitting the taboo topics to get us thinking. Sometimes I wonder if he secretly enjoyed making large groups of people feel awkward as he unpacked touchy topics like sex or the 10 Commandments. But that was Dad's strength. He was never afraid to go where other people felt uncomfortable. And by so doing, he was an inspirational, even prophetic challenger of people's comfort zones, particularly encouraging people to adopt a large perspective of the world beyond sports cars and good views, to discover what part God wants them to play in this world. God always knew how to stir people up and challenge. Dad always knew how to stir people up and challenge them. I hazard a guess that if it wasn't for that part of my dad's personality, many of you would not be sitting here today. In my life, my dad's voice was one of challenge, but it was also one of confidence. My dad had this ability to take a developing skill or character trait of mine and speak it into existence, building me up in confidence and challenging me to throw myself in the deep end. When I started to play guitar and write music as a kid, Dad would speak ridiculously highly of me, even to professional musicians, to my horror. He'd even get me to play for them, and I can't imagine how many people thought, "Oh, that's cute." And a little bit awkward, as my dad coaxed me to strum away. As terrifying as that was sometimes, if it wasn't for that confidence that my dad placed in me, I may have never tried to play or sing in my youth group, or show people my songs. I believe I had potential to go on and make music one of my core passions. When I was 13, he organised for me to go into a recording studio to put some songs down. Many of you know this because you own one of those CDs. Tucked away in a dusty drawer somewhere, and by the way, next time it pops up, I encourage you to just grab it, chuck it in the fireplace, light the fire. And you don't have to do that, but you can just never play it again to any human ears. It would be great. What I'm trying to say is that because my dad spoke belief and courage into me and my sisters, today we have skills and strengths that may have never otherwise existed. And we always owe this to him. Before he passed, my dad made it to my graduation from Bible college. And I honestly believe this is one of the proudest days of his life. If you saw him since then, I'm sure you got an earful about me. And I would say sorry, but I'm not. My dad's pride in me will be a confidence that I always hold dear. As I leave you, I want to share a final story about my dad's stubborn but perseverant character. About 5 years ago, we were in Jordan as a family for a couple of days, seeing some friends who live there. There are some incredible things to see in Jordan, but we couldn't see... Oh, sorry, where am I? Yeah, there's some incredible things to see there, but nothing caught the imagination of us kids like floating in some really salty water at the Dead Sea. So when Dad told us that he really wanted to go and see the historic baptismal site of Jesus instead, we violently opposed him. We were relieved when he conceded, But we felt that nervous twitch coming on that we got whenever we felt Dad was going to get what he wanted. Nevertheless, the next morning we started out to drive towards the Dead Sea with our family friends. Then, as we were about to dig into some Turkish wraps in the car, Dad said grace for lunch. And he ended the prayer with the tagline, "And God, I believe you want us to go to the baptismal side of Jesus, so if it's your will, please make it happen." And the whole car practically shook in uproar at Dad. And we demanded how he could even say such a thing, considering we were already on our way to the Dead Sea. Anyway, an hour or so passed, and as we drew close to the Dead Sea turn-off on the highway, we saw something on the road in the distance. And as we drew closer, we noticed there were some army vehicles around too. And the object on the road turned out to be an army roadblock. At this point, my heart sank, and I started making deals with God in the back seat to make sure we could go to the Dead Sea. But as we pulled up to the roadblock and wound down the window, we asked the army personnel what the situation was, and they told us that for the next 2 days, the only 2 days we were in Jordan, a World Economic Forum was being hosted in the Dead Sea, and that for the safety of these world leaders, all roads would remain closed. Our hopes were dashed, Dad was elated, and we turned the car around towards the baptismal site. One thing that no one can ever discredit my dad for is that he never gave up on what he believed in, even through some pretty tough life battles. This resilient perseverance was a strength and a weakness of his. While it's easy to be on Craig's side, to set oneself against him was a match that I saw a few people contend with. To be honest, because my dad believed so strongly and consistently that he would be healed over the last 2 years, I just assumed that my dad would win this final battle. And in some ways I had pity for the cancer, because I know what it's like to face off with Craig Gibbon. When my dad wanted something, he'd pray, and it usually just simply happened. And boy did he pray, along with all of you and countless more voices across the world who are all listening right now. I cannot say why Dad lost this battle, and I do not understand his passing. I'm not able to reason it away any more than you can. But what I can say is that my dad did not lose any battle when it came to this cancer. Less than 2 weeks before he passed, he travelled to Brisbane with Mum to one of his favourite churches, the Van Bennekom's lead. And for the last time, he stirred people up again, doing what he loved, around the purpose he found in Jesus, and exhorted them to find that passion. My dad was a fighter till his last breath, and he never, ever gave up on what he believed in. Craig Gibbon was George Bernard Shaw's unreasonable man. He always pushed the boundaries. Boxes rarely fit him. He was unreasonably ambitious and set goals that others could not comprehend. My dad was all or nothing. He gave his life in search of a more fulfilling purpose, and he found a Jesus who called him to venture out into the unknown, to countries that most people didn't even dream of living in. Dad was an uncomfortable challenge to almost all of us, and sought to shake the box of the Australian dream. My dad never, ever gave up on what he believed in. And in all that unreasonableness, my dad left an incredible impact on myself, on all of you, and countless people around the world. And he challenged us to pursue a life in an unreasonable way, to break molds and status quos, and to live outside the box. Over the last few weeks of his life, I cannot count the number of times I heard my dad say, "I don't have any regrets. God enabled me to do everything I felt he wanted." It's custom to end a eulogy with a comforting thought about death, but that would be so unlike my dad. Now, he would have you leave this place with a challenge beating in your hearts to pursue a more adventurous life. His voice on the sidelines of my soccer game echo in this room today. And they leave us with an unreasonable challenge. Don't just hope, make it happen. Get in the face of life, hassle it. Dare to discover your purpose. Don't ever sit around wondering what life could be like if only. Get out and chase down the purpose that is calling your name. Don't die wondering what would have happened if you dreamed bigger. Don't die wondering what life would be like if you just stepped out in faith. Don't die wondering what could have happened if only you repaired that relationship. Don't die wondering whether a God who loves you and has a purpose for you really exists. Don't die wondering, because my father certainly didn't.
Josh. I want to take you to a scripture that Craig picked for this day, and it's Romans chapter 3. The scripture says, "But now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been made known, to which the law and the prophets testify. This righteousness is given through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. There is no difference between Jew and Greek, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by His grace through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus." As I was preparing for today, I thought to myself, why did Craig want this scripture read out at his funeral? And as I reflected, I believe because this scripture speaks to the passion and the life that Craig lived. The message of the Bible, the message of Jesus, became the message that Craig proclaimed through the 6 continents, through all those nations, as he lived his life for Jesus. About 5 weeks ago, there was this wonderful event where I had the privilege of being part of, where Craig invited some, he couldn't invite all, obviously, in this room, there's lots of people, but he invited some of the people in his world into his home, and there was about 80 of us. And it was almost like a wake or a funeral service where Craig shared about his life. And he shared about his passion for Jesus, and then other people got to share stories of Jackie and Craig and the Gibbon family and the impact that they had on their lives. And it was a wonderful time, and one of the things Craig said, which stood out to me that Josh mentioned, and something that he said to me a number of times, is that, I can't remember the exact phrase that he used, Josh, but it was like, he used, since the time he became a Christian, from that moment he committed his life to living fully for Jesus, where he laid down the Porsche dream and the looking of the dream of living over the harbour, living and with a view of the harbour, and just committed his life to proclaiming this message of Jesus that this passage in Romans chapter 3 talked about. Craig became a Christian in the early 1980s, and it made such a huge difference in his life, as Josh shared, that he radically changed direction. And he gave his life to proclaim this message that this passage in Romans chapter 3 talks about. In this passage, it tells us 3 things. The first thing is that God desires people to be righteous. Righteous means to be in right standing with God, to live a standard that's here, where we're loving God fully, where we're loving people fully, where we give God our all, and we love people as we love ourselves. And the second thing this passage says is that none of us do that. God's standard is here, but we all fall short. In verse 23 it says, "For all have sinned, all have missed the mark, and have fallen short of God's glory," God's standard. We've all missed it. And as a result, because we've missed it, we deserve punishment for that, and that punishment is death. And it's not just death physically, it's eternal death separated from God. But this passage also gives us the good news. And the good news is that Jesus is the answer. When we couldn't live the life that God wanted for us, when we let God down, when we didn't treat God in the way that He deserved to be treated, God loved us anyway. And He sent His Son Jesus to go to that cross for us and to take our sin upon Himself, to take the punishment that we deserve for our sin upon Himself. He made a way for our sin to be forgiven. He made a way for the relationship with God that was broken due to our sin to be restored. Friends, Jesus is the answer. And this is the message that Craig took from his early 20s until his last days around the world, and proclaimed this message because he believed it. He believed it. He believed it. He was so sure and confident in it that he gave his life proclaiming it. You know, I believe if Craig were here today, he would love to be speaking today, I'm sure. He would love it. If Craig were here today, you know, he would love it. If you are here today and you have not yet responded to Jesus, if you've not yet received the forgiveness that He's offered, that Jesus is offering you, consider Jesus. Consider Him. Look at what He said about Himself. Look at His death. Look at His resurrection. Look at the claims He made about Himself. Consider Jesus. And friends, if you have committed your life to Jesus, you're a Christian, be inspired by the life of Craig Gibbon. Be inspired by this guy, this all-or-nothing guy who just was so dedicated to Christ and His message of forgiveness and reconciliation and eternal life. Christians, be inspired by this life and go and proclaim this wonderful message that Romans 3 talks about. The message of the Bible, the message of God, and the message of Craig. In Jesus' name. Amen. Josh is going to lead us in a song. A wonderful song called 10,000 Reasons. Let's stand together and let's bless the Lord.
You've ever heard my dad speak? You probably heard me playing. Wherever I went, he was sort of like my band manager. He was always hooking me up with gigs, so I just sort of felt like for his last gig I should probably play.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name, sing like never before, oh my soul, I worship Your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning, it's time to sing a song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. So bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name, sing like never before, oh my soul, I worship Your holy name. You're rich in love and You're slow to anger. Your name is
the life of Craig Gibbon. We thank you, Lord, for the inspiration that he is to each one of us. Father, we thank you for the many lives that he touched, for the many people that committed their life to Jesus as you used him to proclaim that message that he was so passionate about. May his life inspire us to be more passionate about Jesus, to proclaim the message of Jesus more boldly. Bless his family. Father, help them to move forward with you. And we thank you that you have great plans for them. In Jesus' name, amen. Invite Jackie to share some final words.
So amazing to have you all here. I don't think all of you have been some part of Craig's journey, my journey, our family's journey. So thank you for making some of you huge efforts to be with us this afternoon. Thank you, and thank you. Our lives are not over. Our family definitely feels like God has a new beginning for us. We and I personally intend to continue working in mission, and so watch this space. I think it'll take some time to switch gears, but watch this space because Craig's legacy will live on in our family. And yeah, I just sense, anyway, Craig's last words to me were on Thursday morning. He passed away at 9 a.m. on the 9th of June. Very organised, checked into heaven for a day's work, I think, at 9 a.m. And but on Thursday morning, I was just some people had left, I just was giving him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and he opened his eyes, which he hadn't done for a while, and looked at me and said, "Goodbye, I love you," very quietly, just a whisper. And I thought, oh, and that was his last words to me. And I really feel like that should be his last words to you. Goodbye, I love you. So thank you for being here. Join us for our afternoon tea, and I'll give you all some more hugs. Thank you for being here.
So ladies and gentlemen, please be released this morning. Afternoon tea outside. Please hang around and share stories of Craig's life. Amen.